All right. So what I wanted to do real quick was give you your Unit 5 intro. Even though I'm not there to do it in person, that doesn't mean that I can't do it. So let's start with the obvious. So you will find it's all grayed out here for me because, it's not showing up for you until tomorrow or Wednesday if you're in C Block. But you'll see the Ed puzzles show up. Um, there are only 5 of them this unit. I obviously set them up in the order you probably should watch them. There is a schedule. I'm going to show you my plan book for a change since I have this format, but you can look at the schedule. It's individualized for each class. There's the work sign up sheet. I still need you to do the work, the sign up, I mean, because one, I still want to know, but also I will either see if I can get another teacher or like this morning I came in and made photocopies before anybody else was in the building. Obviously my lack of presence is not an unwillingness to do the work. I just don't want to be around a lot of people and risk exposure to COVID. So like if you fill out the work sign up sheet, I still will be able to get photocopies made, even if it might be like a weird schedule. The assignment master is up there. I don't have the laminated version back yet, but I'm sure I will at some point, although I guess it doesn't matter. It's here for you to look at. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. So I'm going to open the assignment master first. So you have usual stuff, 2-column notes, coloring sheets. Notes are for textbook chapters and videos. And then for the level 2, usual stuff, concept check, online assignments, a couple things. There's a biointeractive about lactose intolerance. Lactose intolerance is kind of an interesting thing. For my freshmen, I do a thing about it that has to do with sort of the biomechanical aspects of it. This is a little bit more about the genetics, but it's a really interesting thing because human beings are the only mammal that drinks the milk of another mammal. Most mammals stop drinking milk when they stop nursing. So it's always an interesting thing to look at from a bunch of different angles, from the biomechanical one to the genetic one to the evolutionary one. Then there's this activity here. It's another biointeractive thing called the teosinte hypothesis. And this is actually about the evolution of modern corn. Modern corn does not look anything like ancient corn. And so this is always an interesting thing to look at to see how artificial selection can work on genes to sort of change the way things are. The Wolfman genetics case study is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Legends about werewolves, we believe, have arisen from a very particular genetic disorder where someone grows body hair and it really doesn't stop. So that takes a look at that. The understanding human skin color is really interesting because human skin tone is not your standard on-off genetics for Mendel. I mean, to be fair, not much is. But this one is a great example of polygenic inheritance, and it really explains why we have a range of skin tones and not just light or dark. So that one's really interesting as well. Finally, I also have another board game. This one's new. That you could play. The only thing about this is I only have one copy. So if you're going to do it in groups, you need to make sure that you like time who's doing it when. It is, if anybody's brave enough, in my closet. It should be in the closet behind my desk. The one that has like the coat closet portion on the upper shelf. You can't miss it. It's like a shiny, tinny box that says genotype. Don't mess it up. I like that box. Okay. So those are the activities. Let's take a look at the, what am I trying to say? The checklist itself, so we could talk about the movies. I mean, not the movies, the videos. So you could see that this is basically textbook section 10, 11, and 12. We're talking about Mendelian genetics. There are 5 videos, the basic Mendelian genetics one, the non-Mendelian inheritance one, and then it gets a little bit into some of the stuff around genotype expression and how the environment can play a role in how genotypes are shaped. So there's a little bit more into this, but it is still basically what you would expect from that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the schedule. Let me do this so I can get my plan book in a place where I can. There we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our schedule. the first thing you're going to do is a little practice for units 1 through 4, and then you will get into the Unit 5 intro, which is what we're doing today, and then you'll have some checklist time. On Wednesday, Thursday for C block, we're going to do some genetics problems practice. There are actually copies of the problem on my demo table. They have a post-it note that says AP genetics problems. Interestingly enough, there are also copies of both the checklist and the need to know checklist for you up there as well. My sub plans just say that your instructions are online, so you will have to go up there and get them. And then you'll have checklist time for the rest of the time for like this week kind of thing. When we get into next week, what will happen is both classes are going to do the corn chi-squared lab. So this lab has been a great frustration for me. I have been looking for this weird dark colored corn that people use to like decorate their homes in the fall. I actually was like checking it out at a farm that I went to apple picking with my kids, and I just can't find it. So when I post this assignment, there will actually be pictures online for you to use for the assignment. It's what I've been using for years, and I'm desperate. I tried to find plastic corn, tried to find real corn. Nothing has really worked out yet. It does, however, work out a little bit that the lab that frustrates me because I can't find a real thing for us to play with happens right now when I'm not there. So that'll work out to our favor. You'll have checklist time Tuesday, Wednesday C block drops. On Wednesday during G blocks double, and then Thursday during C blocks double. I'm going to have more genetics problems for you. I probably should have said this the first time. When you do the genetics problems, I would like you to do them together, obviously, like with the people in your group so you could talk about it. I will have answers, like I'll do the problems myself, write it out, and post it for you, so you'll be able to look at those. There is a thing here that says chromosomal maps. I will have a supplemental video by Mr. Anderson for you to watch about how we do chromosomal maps using % of recombination. I will also have some practice problems for that. Again, if you need to, you can certainly ask me questions. And then Friday for G block, Monday for C block, you're going to do our level 3 activity, which is a little bit different this time. It's actually going to take longer than the lab, called the stickleback fish activity. It's a biointeractive activity. I'll post the instructions. And there will be 6 sets of laminated cards of the fish. And you're going to be like looking at the cards of the fish based upon various generations, trying to identify characteristics to determine probability of outcomes. It's a pretty cool activity, but it might take a while. So you actually have a double, and you'll notice another day. All right, and the same thing will apply to C block. You'll have a double and another day. Okay. Theory, the 20th, we'll do the corn lab presentation in each class. We'll see if that works out or not. I don't know what I'll do if I'm still not back then. And then the 21st, you'll have checklist time. The 24th, C block will have checklist whole class review, G block will have checklist whole class review, and then both classes will have their Unit 5 quiz and the opportunity to finish your ORQ on the 25th. I will probably make the ORQ active the 18th, just so you have all that time to do it. And then we'll do our Unit 6 intro the 27th for C block and the 26th for G block. Okay. Yeah. I think that's all I have for the intro for this. Obviously, if you have any questions during all this, you guys can always reach out to me and remind. And yeah, that's it.